Hello, I'm Chris, the Tabletop Fox, and welcome to my video on Halo Flashpoint, particularly the UNSC faction and reviewing their units and how they are in Season 1. In today's video, we're going to have a look at the ODST Special Purpose Trooper. The OSPT is a very good and a very heavily used currently ODST unit. So what is the OSPT? Well, to start off, currently, they are the two cheapest units in the entire game, coming in at 23 points for the DMR and 25 points for the BR55 variant. That's not very expensive, and that means you can either get a lot in your list with them, or they are very good filler units, as the Hazop and Zvezda used to be. But while they're being filler units, are they any good, or are they just filling in points and giving you a body? Which still can be good a lot of the time. So stat-wise, they are the very basic in regards to ODSTs. They have the normal 1-2 movement, they have a 4 on the shoot, 5 on the melee, 5 on the save, 1 armour, 3 HP, and no shields. So very standard ODST stat line. Keyword-wise, they have just the one, and that is Scout. And when we get onto their weapons, we'll see how well that keyword works on this unit, other than giving them that ability to have an extra 1 movement at the start of a game. Giving them crouch is a big benefit in both their survival and their output. Other than how cheap they are and their general ODST stats, they do make a good hot drop unit, just because they have a 4-up to their shoot stat, which means they have a semi-reliable hot drop. Now, touching on their guns, as I believe it is a very big part to why you take these units and why they are so good for their points. So we have the DMR one, which has the same DMR as the Deadeye, and that is a range 6, optics, AP 0, lethal 1 weapon. Very solid. The range is very good, so it makes up for their slow movement very nicely. And the other has a BR55 battle rifle, which is the same as the BR75 but without rapid fire. And what that comes with is optics, AP1 and weight of fire 1. So the general difference here is one has lethal 1 and the other has AP1 and weight of fire 1. And in general, for the 2 points extra, taking the BR55 is always the best option, because that AP1 gives a higher guarantee of wounding a target, because you'll get through that armour, of which there is only one unit doesn't have a minimum of 1 armour, and it's not taking that much, so AP1 is very strong to have. And also, weight of fire 1 with a 4-up, there's a good chance you're going to miss a dice. So being able to reroll 1 and get that extra dice, it just adds in that extra chance of actually wounding. And it can kind of then relate to being lethal in some ways, where AP gets you through, you're getting an extra dice from the weight of fire possibly. So overall, it is better. The one downside it really has is it's 1 range less at range 5. However, range 5 is very solid, and it's very rare that you're going to get in a position where you can't get a shot with range 5, but you could with range 6. It does happen, but also these units aren't usually going to live long. Now that is one of the downsides. They're ODSTs, they're easy to kill. It is also an upside. Now, as mentioned, these two come in with very good basic guns. Either is good. What you do with these is you throw on explosive ammo, and every time they die they come back in and get an extra dice and an extra lethal. Well, in the case of the barrel rifle, it gets lethal. The DMR gets lethal 2 now, which is very good. Add in what I mentioned earlier about scouts giving you crouch on the respawn as long as you're not hot dropping. And when these units come in with an explosive ammo, their first shoot action will have the 3 base, 1 from optics, 1 from crouch, and 1 from explosive ammo, for a total of 6. And that's without height, clear shot. That is just the bare minimum. So as long as they're not shooting a camo target that they can see, so again the -2, -1 from that, or a target that's in combat, they're getting a minimum 6, hitting on 4s, critting on 7s, with one of them getting a reroll, and AP1 and lethal 1, or the other one having lethal 2. So very strong, and with how the spawns are set up, the range of the range 5 barrel rifle shouldn't come up that much as a problem, because you can come in with the right angle. You then add in their hot drop potential, where they could hot drop in, taking a risk if you wanted to. And while they won't get their crouch for free, you can put them in a position where they likely get either height or clear shot. So the height will counteract the crouch in the way of output, or the clear shot will give them 1 extra dice on top of that, which can be very strong, especially if you, say, put them onto a King of the Hill point, drop them in, and then get clear shot on the enemy who's on it, clear them out, and take it over. So they add a load of flexibility. They also don't need a weapon added on, which goes in with their being cheap. They don't really need any extras other than putting on explosive ammo if you can. And they don't need it. It was just highly, highly recommended to add it on. So they can hot drop and move flags if you wanted. You could add a thruster on to give that extra movement if you wanted, or even just hot dropping on to move it 1 with base movement and maybe 2 with an advanced die, just to get it moving. The great thing is, unlike some other units, like say Buck doing it, they don't lose the weapon they come down with, because they're not bringing a pickup weapon. They've got a good weapon base, and that makes them very good for versatility. The biggest problem you'll have with them is when kill points come up, they're very much fighting for those kill points. And in the sense is, if their output's not doing the job, which at times it can fail, such as into Gunganiers, it's risky into elites because there's a good chance you might not kill them and then you have to worry about their evade. If they're not getting those kill outputs, they're an easy kill. So the opponent can start racking up kills in return by killing them off. So it does cause that issue where having one can actually be a detriment rather than a positive, especially if it's modes where kill points you do get, but most of the enemies you could kill you wouldn't want to because it would give them then too much of an advantage in the actual objective side of it and say give up some points on the King of the Hill extraction. The other part is they don't really bring much in the way of extra utility other than the hot drop and then the killing potential. So they, at base, don't have any like rapid fire, knockback, anything like that that would just give them that little extra edge to be able to play the field a bit better. And that's just one of their other main disadvantages, really. Though there isn't really much in the sense of disadvantage to having them, because if you're bringing them along, it's likely you're getting either an extra unit, so you are running more units than the opponent, or you're bringing them along so your other units can be much stronger. Because of how cheap they are, that disadvantage goes away a bit because it's making the rest of your team stronger. So they're an incredible unit just to add into your list. You can't majorly go wrong with them, because they've always got a way that they could play the mode thanks to hot drop. And as I mentioned with the second lieutenant, you could take them instead of selling it like a second lieutenant and have the extra command dice per round upgrade. So you're kind of still getting a bit of extra command dice. And these guys don't really need to spend it. They could use it on a shoot dice, but you're likely, if you're running these, got stronger units to use that on. Move dice to do some objective stuff. But again, there's someone who doesn't really need it, and that is probably one of their biggest advantages outside of how cheap they are, is how little you need to actually put into them to make them work. You can spawn them in, shoot someone, if you die, do it again. If you don't die, do it again but without the explosive ammo. They don't need resources, they don't need to take up your grapples, they don't need to take up your command dice. They are a very self-contained unit that can do a lot with that, and for their points, that is incredibly useful to your list. It's going to be a massive difference to not having one if you have the points to add them in, because at the end of the day as well, having a fourth member of the team in most modes is a massive benefit over having only a 3-man. If you're at a tournament where it's purely like kill modes like VIP and stuff, 3-man usually is likely going to be a bit better because you're giving away less kill potential. But anything like Stronghold, King of the Hill, where you can force yourself to be the last activation by having one of these guys that you can just throw away at the start of the turn. You can go, alright, let's use him first, kill something with him. All my other tacticians then have at least one extra activation of safety before they can be killed after activating. Just a brilliant first tool to use, just to waste time for the enemy and also make it so you get that last activation so you can go clear that hill out. So you can clear them off the stronghold, so you can kill Chief after he's activated and make sure that he doesn't have his dice next turn. So an incredibly solid piece to come in and make a great filler to your list. or if you're running, say, an ODST list, a great unit just to have a few of, just to be a general menace to the opponent with how much they can actually output for how many points they are. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if there's anything you disagree with in my thoughts about the unit, or anything you think I missed, please feel free to let me know in the comments. But with that, I've been the Tabletop Fox. I hope you have a lovely day, and ta-ra!